Welcome to Jaded and Faded Convos. I'm your host, Jada La Pearl, and I got some shit to say. Alright, y'all. So this is my very first episode of Jaded and Faded Convos, and I thank you for listening, watching. To kind of go into why I created Jaded and Faded Convos is, as you know, for a while I've definitely of course have been into dance, and I'm usually performing, I'm usually teaching, I'm usually hosting, but you never really just hear me just talk, like really just have conversations about some really in-depth stuff when it comes to just life in general and experiences that we'll have when it comes to dance and pole overall. And a lot of the things that I have experienced, witnessed from close associates and in certain encounters, and some stuff I feel like people need to get a different perspective on, hear someone else's story to be able to say, hey, I've been through this as well, or oh, I feel where you're coming from, and I'm inspired to want to make a difference or a change of some sort, because I'm always going to be about inspiring to help in any way. So I decided to finally create it and see where it goes. So with this first episode and the many more to come, I hope you enjoy what I have to say. So let's get to it. Okay. Pole and love life. Can the two coexist? What is it about this vertical piece of metal that has people in a whole frenzy? And I'm talking about a big ass chokehold, okay? When it comes to dance, what I have definitely have noticed is everybody is a part of dance for some kind of reason. A life change, they've approached a certain age, they've, left maybe their comfort zone, their hometown, so they're wanting to try something different. Whatever the reason being, let that reason be for you, right? But one thing that people will definitely tend to do is they will take a class typically for their partner. They're wanting to feel sexy. Oh, I want to do, of course, this cute little dance for my man, and I want to see, of course, how this looks when I wear shoes and that. Perfectly fine. Get that all the time. It's never going to stop. So what happens is people come in, they may do a private party with a friend, or they might just decide to go take a class on their own and see what it's like and how it feels. And, they feel, of course, good. They're going to take it, of course, to their partner, right? Nothing wrong with that. And then it decides to be where, hey, is this something I wanted to just try out for myself for a little bit, and that's that? Cool. Or is this something I want to continue doing? I think I want to take more classes. I think, of course, I like how this felt when I did this. I like how they taught me to do this particular move and this spin, and told me to, of course, be central with my body. I want to learn more of that. So you decide to start taking more classes and probably get into a course series and all the things that make you feel good in that moment when it comes to dance, right? Then say you have a partner that sees, oh, okay, she's taking more classes. Oh, hey, they're doing more of these outings with all these other people. Sometimes insecurities are set in. Oh, why you got this on? Oh, why you always have to, of course, go to these classes at these times? Oh, who you finna go see over here? Oh, you must be leaving me and cheat me for such and such. The list goes on and on and on and on. And it starts having to make you feel like, dang, I just want to do something sexy for myself. Why does it feel like my partner is against it for some reason? I've seen it in relationships, marriages, and all. And it becomes a situation where we have to now really start asking more in-depth questions. What's the real issue? Okay? So I will begin with how I got into dance. Okay? So, I was in a relationship at the time. It was at year 2, I believe. And I was on YouTube, or probably start with Instagram at the time. And I was watching this woman, beautiful, curvaceous woman named Rashida. And she had this segment called Sex is a God Thing. And I was so enamored by how she was able to move her body and how she was able to just be so ooey and gooey, and just her expression of how she moved with her body. And at that time in my life, I remember really wanting to explore my sensuality, because I knew that I was pretty, but to feel it for myself without someone else having to tell me, or that being my only validation to indicate that, oh yeah, I am sexy, trying to seek it for myself. So when I found out about her and learning the types of classes that she offered online and all the things that came with that, I started taking upon those classes for myself from home. And at the time, I never told my partner about it. And I think a lot of it was because it was something I wanted to just keep to myself and to do for me. Mostly because I was afraid of judgment, which you shouldn't be afraid of in your relationship, but the way my relationship was set up at the time, I was. I certainly didn't want it to be exploited, meaning, oh, okay, well, if you're doing this thing, well, you gonna dance for me. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that, but I would have wanted it to have been organic, you know? Even during those times where I'm sorting out, how I want my body to feel in those moments and not being forced into it. Because I have some situations where I'm putting on certain lingerie that I know is not of my cup of tea, but they like it, but I don't like how I feel in it. And so there goes the people pleasing and the putting yourself in uncomfortable situations to make it more of a enjoyment for them. And when I got to a point when I was like, yeah, I'm not trying to put what makes me feel good and my pleasure on the back burner anymore. And I stood by that to the point where 3 years later, me and that person's relationship, we were on the brink. It was bad. It was a lot of stuff that took place on a personal level that had nothing to do with dance, because she didn't even know about it. And again, the reason why she didn't know about it was because there was a lot of insecurities taking place that I knew that had she known that I even had an interest to want to dance, pole, or anything of that nature, she would have shut it down. She would have shut it down and talked me out of it, and we would have had some words and the guilt tripping and the just would have been made to feel bad about doing something for me in that way. Mostly because, what's your worst fear? You're worried about, oh, they gonna do something to, impress somebody else, and somebody else is gonna want them, and this, that, and the third, versus you just being supportive of your partner in that way, and to understand that if you're being supportive, it in the end benefits you too. You know what I'm saying? But you also need to be more open-minded partner in those ways, rather than it coming from a selfish place of, oh, we can do this but only for me type matter. So 3 years later happens. I was in some very interesting opportunities. In a nutshell, I've done a lesbian erotica, and she didn't know about that one because I knew for a fact she was not finna ride with that one at all. And then I also became a part of female reviews. Now, the reason why she didn't know anything about these things was because we were at a place in our relationship. She was recovering from a car accident at the time, and I knew that she was recovering, and I also would have wanted her to come support me, but physically she couldn't. And if I were to go say, hey, babe, I'm gonna go to a party or something like that. Oh, why are you going out? And why are you doing this? And da-da-da-da-da. You do too much, and you need to, of course, be here. Some of that had a lot to do with her trauma. Some of that had a lot to do with the fact that she's incapable of doing certain things, so therefore I need to, of course, not do as much. It was a lot of other things that came with that. And so the idea of me stepping out and doing something that can give me joy, with, of course, the fact of other people watching me and looking at me in the same manner that she, of course, would, I guess, in that way. Only difference is they're paying me for it. Yeah, that was gonna very much ruffle a lot of feathers. But I was gonna go through with it regardless because it was something I wanted. So, interestingly enough, the week of the performance for the very first time I was going to perform came up. We were already on not the best of terms, and our 5-year anniversary had just passed. And it got to the point where she don't know if she want to be with me. I was thinking, of course, that we wanted to be together. Apparently, I was wrong. And it made it to where I said, okay, my hands is tied at this point. I gotta go. And I ended up performing that same weekend. And it was an awesome ass experience. I will never forget it. I still have the Snapchats to prove it. Yeah, they're hidden away somewhere. But it was a unforgettable night that I'm happy that I did not back out on, all because of my partner and concerns about how they're going to feel about it, and is this right if I'm doing this and I'm with her, when at the end of the day you have people that are in relationships that know, hey, this is a dynamic that you are a part of. That does not mean that it dictates the type of relationship that you would have at home. So, in a nutshell, dance came in my life when I wanted to find myself in a way that was fitting for me. And then pole came along literally like 9 months after that same year. So that whole year for me was a continuance of my awakening in a different way that was fitting for me. And it just happened to be right when I'm having to close a chapter, because with that breakup, that was me having to tell myself, you may love this person, but you love you more. And so why not do the things that are more fulfilling to the type of love that you want to have for yourself? And so I did that. Now, we are now in 2025, and I am, of course, now in a new relationship that also made its 5-year mark as well. The only difference is this chick here has been my cheerleader since freaking day one. She has been like my best friend in all that I do when it comes to dance, when it comes to teaching, when it comes to um, creating showcases, creating workshops, creating podcasts, creative directing, all the different things. And granted, the experience of dance with a supporting partner is amazing. Don't get it twisted. The experience still needs to be had regardless. Because at the end of the day, if dance is doing something for you, why let someone else dictate because they may feel like, oh, well, it's keeping you from doing this with me and it's keeping from this and that and the third, if it's something fulfilling for you. Because at that point, that's not a you problem, that's a them problem. Now, of course, it's easier said than done. That's going to be a matter of, hey, let's have these conversations and trying to figure out what's what. Then you also have to consider if you're running into a partner that may not want to open up their eyes and see exactly where this, of course, is affecting you and how they can be a better support for you, then, that's going to be your decision if you just decide to either put up with it or I got to do something different and I'd rather do it differently without you. So that definitely is a big, big deal. So, how does dance support my love life now? It supports it in a way that I've never had to feel shy about performing for my current partner. Granted, when it comes to me dancing, the stuff I do on in showcases and in events and whatnot, I don't do at home. It's just it's just not. You can ask any dancer for real, do they really do all the stuff that they do, of course, in performances and shit at home for their partner? No, a lot of times no. But to understand that if she were to come to a show and come to, of course, a class, and I'm in my zone, I'm opening up that space for her to be able to share those moments with me because they're important to me. They're important to me from a place of vulnerability. They're important to me from a place of letting you in my world. Because that is my world to have. Nobody can be able to come and shake my world up all because they don't like how it's looking. It's not befitting for them in that way. So, doing dance with a supported partner, the one as well as the one I have, is a blessing. It is beautiful. Um, it is joyful and sexy. Honestly, security is sexy. Insecurity is not. And the fact that I have a partner that saw me for what it is that I do and what it is I wanted to be and become at the time. Because when I first met her, we were friends and she knew that I wanted to get into dance. So it was fresh. So she saw it from literally from day one. And she's just like, yeah, you really could just be this amazing person. You could do this and you can do, of course, YouTubes and you can do classes and this. Like, a lot of the stuff I did not realize that, yeah, I'm really wanting to be a part of and make happen and just do it this way. And she really catapulted in my mind how far I really could go. So it can make some really magical shit happen if you have somebody, of course, in your corner. But please understand that this journey when it comes to dance, it is meant to be had for you. So as long as you're doing it for you, let them just enjoy the ride. That's it. Let them enjoy the ride for what's to come with all of your splendor, all of the skills and the turns and the spins and the aerials and the low flows. Let them all just enjoy the ride. So, in conclusion, when it comes to love and pole life, it really does not have to be that complicated. But if your individual situation is, definitely try to have some conversations. Be open to some dialogue. And I mean that on both ends, when it comes to yourself, when it comes, of course, to your partner. If the dynamic seems to be where this particular part of you is an issue for you being able to feel good, feel your sexiest self, embarking on something that is part of your sensual journey, if they can't ride with that, only you know what's best for you. Thank you for watching and listening to Jaded and Faded Convos. Again, I am your host, Jada La Pearl. That's all I got, y'all. Be easy.